Tomorrow is quarter two earnings for Palantir. It seems like a lot of people are nervous and a lot of people don't know what to expect with what's about to happen. Guys, let me just go over the numbers as a normal, regular person. I'm not some mathematical genius. I do understand numbers. I do understand a balance sheet to a point, but I'm by far not the best person specifically on YouTube who's doing this. I am a regular person that bridges the gap between somebody that doesn't know anything and somebody that definitely knows a lot. So just let me go over the numbers, super simple. At the end of last quarter, we had $3.5 billion in remaining deals and $1.2 billion in performance obligations. $3.5 billion in remaining deals means we have money coming in, possibly like to renew, extend, so on and so forth, not guaranteed. 1.2 billion is guaranteed money, which means as long as we do what we're supposed to do, we're going to get that money. We ended up finishing the quarter with $2.3 billion in cash and no debt at all. The reason that we had so much cash and no debt was an amazing feat. And then we had billions of dollars coming in between contracts we still need to close out and potential additional money on contracts that we already have. This is huge. That's why we're able to do good during recession time. And by good, I mean expand our operations and get a bunch of new hires, which I'll go into in a moment and try to correlate why it was announced on Friday and not tomorrow during earnings. On top of that, if all else fails, we have a $500 million credit line that we used an absolute number of $0. Zero, guys, zero. We didn't have to use any of that money. That's amazing. So there's something called GAAP profitability. GAAP profitability is just general accounting purposes. Like this is the actual money you make after all of the fancy accounting numbers and crunching that you do. This is in a matter of quarters. So all these numbers are negative. It went from negative 33% to negative 39% to negative 23% to negative 14% to negative 9%. When that negative goes to zero and then positive, this is when Palantir should absolutely pop, okay? So that number, it keeps going closer, closer, closer. The question is, are we going to reach GAAP profitability in this quarter? Probably not. So GAAP profitability is that magic number that makes your company profitable as opposed to not profitable. So there's a lot of companies that are GAAP profitable, but they have crazy amount of debt out there. Like, for example, GM, Ford, and car companies, right? Palantir doesn't have any of that. Palantir is a super solid company. And although it's not GAAP profitable, it does have free cash flow. And free cash flow means that it has money actually coming in. It generates revenue. But after fancy accounting purposes, and there's a lot of write-offs and things that come off of that number, you don't actually have GAAP profitability. I hope that makes sense for people. There's a couple of things that I wanted to bring up and that I'm looking for in these earnings. So very first thing, last quarter, we announced 124% net retention from clients, which means that if we have a client right now that has a contract with us for $100, for example, they will be increasing that contract by 24%. And it's the stickiness of Palantir. Stickiness of Palantir means how much each client gives us. It's the gift that keeps on giving, so to speak, which is not bad. The problem is, and why our earnings last quarter was absolutely shit, well, not shit, but nothing good, right? It definitely could have been better. It was definitely a weak earnings, is because quarter 4 of 2021, that number was 146%. So we went from every $100 a client gives us, they were giving us $46 on top, like 46%, to 24%. So it's definitely a huge decline. So the question is, why is it declining? And there's many definitions, many reasons for it, but at the end of the day, none of them are justifying that the numbers are going down. And it's significant. It didn't go from like 146 to 145. It went from 146 to 124. This is a very, very interesting number right now. Total customers. So our total customers, and this is also why our earnings were not so good, went from 10 to 20 to 34. Then it stayed steady at 34. And then it went to 40 last quarter. So it's almost like we went 34 to 34 and then 40. But what we should have had was 34 to 40. And then last quarter, we should have been at like 48. So it's going to be very important, and this is one of the main numbers that I'm looking for in this specific earnings, is that that number went up. I'm hoping that that number from 40 went up to very close, if not actually 50. That's what I really, really want. I want that number to go up, and that's going to be a telling story that we're actually acquiring new customers and that our sales force is working and that all our connections are working and all the people that we're hiring on our advisory board, so on and so forth, is all working. This is how, the proof is in the pudding, so to speak. That's a huge number. Now, let's look at the expectations. Currently, our expectations is 470 billion. Let me try to break this down as easy as possible. Last quarter, we had 446 million in revenue. If you take 470 billion to 446, that is a 5% growth quarter over quarter. Now, Palantir predicts that we're going to have a 30% year over year up until 2025. If we have 5% quarter over quarter times 4 quarters, that's around 20% plus compound annual growth, but we're still not going to be reaching that 30%, right? Now, if you go to quarter 1 of 2021 and quarter 1 of 2022, it was 341 million, and then we had 446 million. So if you go 341 to 446, we actually grew 31% year over year, okay? But now let's do the numbers. If we reach 470 billion this quarter 2 of 2021, we had 376 million. I'm sorry, not billion. I meant million, guys. I'm talking about millions. I apologize. So if you go 470 million compared to 376 million in quarter 2, year over year growth, that's only 25%. You understand? So the magic number is 30%. We're only getting 25%. The magic number quarter over quarter would be somewhere around 7%, 8%. In order to make the 30%, we're only getting 5%. The number that we actually need to accomplish 30% year over year growth is around 488 million.8, right? Just a smidge under $489 million. The question is, can we get that or not? So Palantir, in their own words, and I'm paraphrasing, says that there's a lot of contracts that we're working on that we couldn't actually sign on the dotted line, but that doesn't mean that we're going to stop helping people, stop helping countries. That means that Palantir is, in my opinion, dealing with Ukraine and the geopolitical uncertainty. Now the question is, how long do the contracts start to work? So the actual war started in March. The end of this quarter was, I believe, at the end of June. Most government contracts take 6 to 12 months to actually be realized, more like 12 months. But because of the urgency, maybe it was a little faster at 6 months. So if we started signing contracts with Ukraine, say around March, they would have only been realized in this quarter right now. So I'm not looking too forward in any new government contracts right now that's going to be coming out of the geopolitical uncertainty. Plus, I have a feeling that a lot of the money that's being used to pay for these contracts with Palantir, if they come at all, this is all speculation, is from the money that we're giving the Ukraine. Biden's bailout plans for Ukraine. If I'm not mistaken, they gave him like $40 billion or something already. Well, that money that's given to Ukraine comes back to American companies. One of those companies is Palantir, obviously. I'm not saying all of it's coming or a lion's share. I'm just saying that that's how they pay back the United States. They invest in United States companies, and not just Palantir, but other companies like Lockheed Martin, all the Department of Defense primes. So what exactly am I looking for in this quarter? Revenue, I would love if it came in at 490 million. This would give us our 30% year over year, and I believe that this is going to bring the stock price up. I don't think any of the European contracts are going to be coming in heavy in this specific earnings. I'm not even sure if it's going to come out in the next earnings. I do believe quarter 4, quarter 1 of 2023, and quarter 2 of 2023 is going to see massive additional government contracts, not just domestically, but abroad. Those abroad contracts is what I'm looking for to bring up our revenue. For this quarter, by the way, I'm going to be doing it live on 7 a.m. I'm going to start. I'm going to be doing Emmanuel and Arnie. I know a lot of people are showing this, but we're going to be showing it the best. And me and Emmanuel are going to keep you entertained while Arnie is going to be crunching the numbers. And plus, you get to look at this stupid face all the time. So I'm looking for a couple of things. Net retention to go up, total clients to go up. I don't really care about revenue and things like that because, there's compensation. And our hiring is increasing by 25%, right? I did a video about this the other day. They announced this on Friday. The reason they announced it on Friday is some people are like, well, because the stock-based compensation is going to go up and our earnings per share is going to be diminished because we're hiring people. So they're kind of preparing people. I think that they're going into earnings with some type of momentum. And everybody was talking about Palantir on Friday, buzzing. So there's a buzz about Palantir. If they mentioned it during earnings, they wouldn't get the buzz, they wouldn't get momentum going into earnings, and they might not have been green on Friday. Again, it's all about momentum because the jobs report was down, was up actually. And a good jobs report is actually bad for the stock market, funny enough. So I'm looking for net retention to go up. I'm looking for that customer count to be somewhere around 50. And the most important thing that I'm looking for is forward guidance. I want them to give us an amazing forward guidance about being a 6th Department of Defense prime, about some major new projects that they're working on, things like that. I want them to give us alpha news. That's what I'm looking for more than any of the actual financial numbers. For all the stupid idiots that keep saying, I hope we miss so that I can buy more shares. For this, I want to say, go F yourself. If you have not been buying shares this entire time, that's on you. I would never bet against my investment just to say I want to buy more of that investment. The dips is over, guys. It's all about momentum. Do you know how hard it is to get momentum? And we finally have a bullish momentum, a positive momentum. People are starting to pay attention to us. Could you imagine smashing that momentum and going back down to $8 or $7 or $6? Guys, it would be another quarter or two just to get the momentum back. Sometimes products don't just speak for itself. Sometimes it's all about market sentiment. And we're not doing ourselves any favors because nobody likes us in Wall Street because of various different reasons. We moved out of California, we DPO'd, not IPO'd, so on and so forth. So please, for you stupid idiots that keep saying, I hope the price goes down, seriously, go check your brain cells. Don't say the price is going to go down. I never wish the price of Palantir to go down. I wish for it to only go up. Seriously, just up. I'll see you guys on Monday morning. I hope these numbers help you in some way, shape, or form so that you understand what's happening with Palantir. I try to explain it in the easiest possible form. And if you want to join my Patreon, I have a link down below. Our group is growing. We have 40 people. And if you like real estate and you like crypto, I have 2 other channels. The link is down below as well. And I have a link to the Palantir Discord. It's absolutely amazing. We usually hit information before it hits the news. Thank you. Have a great day. Berg out.